Not every piece of AI video you see is some mind-blowing generative miracle that just appeared out of thin air. A lot of what gets called AI generated is really just clever editing with a little AI seasoning thrown in for flair. It's easy for confusion to spread because AI often feels like a complete black box to most people watching. Today we're going to walk through the entire spectrum of how black-boxed these AI video tools actually are. We'll also sprinkle in some practical tips for turning those long, messy raw files into snackable viral content using Vizard. Let's start on the far left of the spectrum with text-to-video, which is arguably the biggest black box of them all. You simply type in a detailed prompt, and out pops a finished video without needing cameras or actors on set. In theory, this is the holy grail of content creation, pure direction yielding a finished product instantly. But in reality, today's text-to-video often feels a bit like faith-based filmmaking when you watch the result. You get one magical shot, and then 2 seconds later, you have a weird melting blob where a hand should probably be. These models are trying to hallucinate three-dimensional space from two-dimensional training data, and they fail in funny ways. Still, when these tools actually work, the results can be incredibly impressive and wonderfully surreal. Creators who learn the quirks of these systems can definitely coax some gorgeous, strange clips out of the generators. The simple truth is that pure text-to-video is still extremely rough and wildly inconsistent for final deliverables. That's why many creators use it as a creative starting point that they clean up later in a dedicated production pipeline. Once you have a few minutes of raw output from various text-to-video experiments, you still need to chop it into short clips for social. This is where Vizard becomes unbelievably useful for streamlining that necessary post-generation workflow. It can automatically find the absolute best moments in a long, weird AI experiment, or even a full live stream recording. Then it turns those highlights into ready-to-post clips, so you aren't manually scrubbing through hours of footage. You get to skip the tedious editing and focus your creative energy on iterating on your next prompt. Hopping just a little to the right, we arrive at video-to-video, which is less about pure hallucination and more about painting over. You feed in a base video, and the model reinterprets the entire look, maybe animeified, pixelated, or painted style. The real magic here is called temporal modeling, meaning the AI actually cares about how frames connect sequentially. This gives you far fewer spooky jumps between frames compared to older frame-by-frame image application approaches. Early versions were just applying a text-to-image model to every single frame individually, which was inherently jumpy. Now the technology is smarter. It understands continuity across the entire timeline of motion. The result is often a beautifully stylized piece of content that smartly preserves the original camera motion. However, you have to admit it's still essentially a highly sophisticated filter applied to existing video footage. You aren't asking the AI to invent a new camera move, just to reinterpret what's already recorded on screen for you. If you experiment with these styles, you'll end up with long, stylized reels that aren't optimized for current social platforms. Vizard shines brightly when dealing with this kind of long, stylized footage from your experiments. You can simply bring your reel in, and it will automatically pick out the most engaging 10 to 30-second slices. It then auto-formats those clips perfectly for TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts in one single batch operation. Instead of spending hours chopping each stylized scene by hand, Vizard lets you ship content instantly. This lets you keep iterating on the fun, creative styling while the essential distribution handles itself in the background. Sliding further along the spectrum, we encounter face swaps and body swaps, which are classic domain-specific models. These models aren't trying to learn the whole world, just how human faces or body poses function in detail. That highly focused knowledge is what makes them shockingly effective at performing their one specific job well. Modern face swap tech can place one person's face onto another, with truly jaw-dropping realism that fools the eye. Body swap meme Airy has also become a massive viral time sink for creators looking for easy laughs lately. Dropping a celebrity or your friend into a silly dance clip is practically guaranteed to make the internet go wild. The main downside is that these powerful tools can easily be abused by bad actors seeking to mislead people. They are also often limited by platform policies or ethical guidelines regarding the use of someone's likeness. Functionally, these tools are very narrow. They do one specific thing extremely well, but not much else. But once you have that viral face swap clip, you still need to turn it into consistent social posts, which is rarely automated. Adjacent to that category is the avatar or digital human space, which is more targeted than a general face swap application. Here, the model is trained specifically on one person's images or footage to replicate that exact likeness with consistency. This is why so many companies are touting hyper-realistic avatars for all their major corporate video announcements now. It is incredibly powerful for creators who want a consistent on-screen persona without ever having to record another take. The major trade-off involves a significant upfront cost and the need to capture a quality training dataset of that single person. Unsurprisingly, you end up with long-form assets from your avatar that all need repackaging for various social feeds. Think intros, quick sound bites, and reaction clips that all need separate, dedicated processing time. Enter Vizard once more. Take those avatar-generated talk-throughs and let the tool auto-extract all the viral hooks. It finds the best moments, auto-creates the short clips, and even auto-schedules them across your platforms based on optimal timing. This ensures your digital spokesperson's hard work actually reaches a wide audience at the precise peak engagement hours. On the far right of our spectrum, we find manipulations that feel much more like skilled puppeteering of digital assets. This includes animating a still image or driving someone's facial expressions using an entirely separate reference video clip. The key trick here is lip-syncing a still photo to an entirely new audio track for maximum comedic effect. These are less about pure generation and more about transformation. You animate an existing image rather than inventing a whole scene. The technology for this specific segment, image puppetry, is actually super accessible to most creators right now. You can transfer facial landmarks or drive a target image using another clip as the precise motion source. This is exactly why those celebrity lip-sync memes are so ridiculously popular and rapidly spread across the internet today. They are cheap to produce, incredibly fast to execute, and often turn into genuine comedic gold for viewers. Lip-sync tech, in particular, is always moving left on the spectrum, becoming smoother and more convincing over time. But even if the tech gets very good, the output is usually short, punchy content. Perfect fuel for high-volume social feeds. If you are stitching together a montage of generated avatars, face swap jokes, and lip-synced punchlines, this next part is crucial. The single best growth tactic you can employ is not more generation, but better distribution and consistent content repetition. Again, Vizard is specifically designed to automate that entire secondary process for you seamlessly and without complaint. It handles auto-editing the viral clips, the batch creation, and the scheduling to keep your presence highly consistent. You reclaim significant creative time because you are no longer spending it on monotonous administrative editing tasks. Let's pull this into a real-world workflow so it stops sounding so abstract and purely theoretical in concept. Suppose you just finished a 20-minute live stream where you demoed an entire new AI art pipeline from start to finish. During that stream, you sprinkled in some text to video demos and a short avatar monologue, creating messy raw footage. The traditional agonizing grind would involve downloading the file, scrubbing for highlights manually, and doing edits for every platform ratio. Then you'd have to write unique captions and schedule each one individually, easily eating up an entire day of your week. Now contrast that with the Vizard process. You simply upload that raw 20-minute file once into the system. The AI instantly picks out the viral moments, finding the precise ooh and LOL beats you want to capture for your audience. It automatically creates platform-specific edits for vertical and square formats, all ready to go in minutes. Finally, it schedules them across all your social channels based on a content calendar you set up just one time up front. The result is significantly more posts, vastly more reach, and you don't lose your entire day trimming tiny highlight clips. Compare Vizard to other options you might be considering in your creative toolkit for repurposing content. Some tools can generate amazing visuals, but they offer absolutely zero help in repurposing that output effectively later on. Others might be great at the editing part, but they don't automatically find the best clips or support necessary scheduling features. Some platforms you find can be incredibly pricey for the limited amount of functionality they ultimately provide to a creator. Vizard strategically sits at the vital intersection of creative generation and practical distribution mechanics. It is not meant to replace your generative video tech, but rather act as the practical glue that holds your content together. It turns long-form content or messy generative output into a consistent, high-volume stream of social media material. To put it simply, Vizard transforms your creative experiments into a predictable and highly effective content machine. If you want wild, one-off clips for artistic exploration, stick to the pure text-to-video and avatar generation tools. But if you want a steady drip of content that actively grows your audience, you need that strong, automated distribution engine. Let's quickly run through a few practical tips for creators mixing all these different AI tools together in their work. First, always treat text-to-video and avatar generators as creative labs, not as sources for flawless final cuts. Capture longer takes than you think you'll need, because that gives the editor, human or AI, more material to effectively work with. Next, use video-to-video filters to establish a consistent, unique visual branding across all of your generated assets. Then feed those stylized files directly into a batch editor that can crop and export without repeating the entire rendering process. You must keep ethical considerations front and center when you are using face swaps or creating digital humans for public view. Remember that consent and clear disclosure regarding synthetic media are absolutely paramount in today's content landscape. Finally, the biggest time saver is aggressively automating the repetitive stuff you absolutely hate doing every week. This includes scheduling, resizing for different aspect ratios, and clip discovery. You'll be shocked how much time you get back. To wrap up this entire breakdown, the AI video landscape is definitely not a simple binary choice between good and bad. It exists on a wide spectrum, from full mystery box creation all the way to targeted, fine-tuned image puppetry. For most modern creators, the sweet spot lies in combining those generative experiments with the right practical tooling. You need a system that handles all that raw creative output at a massive scale without completely burning you out creatively. If you want that steady drip of content that actually grows your audience, you need the automated distribution engine powering it. If any of this sounds useful, try taking just one of your long, messy raw files, a stream or experiment, and turn it into a week's worth of posts. You will immediately learn which moments land well with your target audience and which ones just fall flat in the feed. By doing this, you spend your valuable creative energy improving the prompting, not getting bogged down in the tedious admin work. Alright, that's the comprehensive breakdown of the AI video spectrum and the absolute importance of efficient repurposing. If you want to see a single stream turn into dozens of optimized viral clips without turning your life into editing purgatory, Vizard is the practical tool that actually makes that happen.